Did you know that the first educational video game was called Logo Programming and was released in 1967? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. For all the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 147. My name's Gareth Briley. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
Good evening, Gareth. I'm doing okay. Trying not to breathe. Certainly not typing. None of that malarkey going on here.
There's a lot of bad behaviour here in this group. And on my virtual right is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Hello, evening, Gareth. Hopefully I'm not making any untoward noises. Otherwise, all right, thank you.
Good. And on my virtual silent opposite is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
I like it.
If you hang in there for a second.
That's good, I like that. It was a worry. I got very worried for a second. Oh, no. Brilliant. And we just want to say James is poorly at the moment. He's had COVID and stuff. So big shout out to James. Get better. He'll be back on the podcast soon. Regulars have missed him. Paul, how's your week been?
Hello.
What have you been doing?
It's been dreadful.
Is it?
Absolutely awful. I've been in Yorkshire all week so far.
Here we go.
No. It's a funny. Let me tell you this story. I went in, and I'm working in it's like a massive old mill, and the shop part of this mill is on the very top floor. So I strolled up to the top floor, and I was immediately accosted by a woman from Leeds, who, when I expressed how happy I was to be back in Yorkshire, threatened to kneecap me. So, I mean, you could take the girl out of Leeds and everything. All I said was, it was a bit of a pain whenever I got to Yorkshire having to put my watch back 20 years. But,
was it laced with sarcasm, or was it delivered dead straight?
Can you ever imagine me being sarcastic, Darren?
Just want to clarify what happened, that's all. I'm not casting any aspersions.
I'm not judging. Not judging.
Not judging.
No. But yeah, other than that, I've spent the last 3 days pat testing 226 different appliances all over this huge great mill. So I'm about sick of it now.
Yeah.
But I've got to go back on Friday and finish off. So there you go.
Good. Oh, good luck with that. How quickly would Paul have to resign if he was an MP?
These days, probably not.
No, he would have. He'd be there for the long run.
Oh, come on. I've never told anybody to jump out of the window or anything.
Richard, how's your week been?
Well, other than that personal attack from Paul, it's not been too bad.
Oh, good. What have you done?
I think you should jump out of a window, though.
Oh, dear.
I went to see Black Adam after we recorded the podcast last week.
Bad?
Not great.
I mean, I'm saying that because it's not been a great response, is it?
It's almost like a day in the life of this town, and obviously Black Adam comes back from wherever he's been, and then there's a thing that happens in the post credits thing that I'm sure you're all aware of, but I won't spoil it for people that haven't seen it. And I was just like, why couldn't have that been the film? Why have we had to sit through 2 hours of rubbish with a baddie that is perhaps one of the worst in superhero films for a long time? Just give me what you've just teased, what you've just spent 2 hours teasing. Just give me that in the first instance.
Yeah. I think James Gunn he's going to be the overlooker of the whole DC universe now. So that's why Superman's left The Witcher. So he's going to.
Yes.
So and that's a good. James Gunn's he's got a good touch. It's fun, and it'd be interesting to see what he does. It does need a bit of an overhaul, doesn't it?
It just just needs to sort itself out. There's so much stuff that's not part of it that could have been part of it, and everything else.
I just think they shouldn't link anything. I don't think there needs a link. I think Marvel does that, and we're a bit bored of that now. But just have separate things going on with separate stories. I don't care about linking stuff. I think that's when they do the best stuff. I don't want to see Batman with Superman.
The best has been the stuff that's not been part of it.
Yeah,
and I think for the sake of the DCU, they perhaps need to bring some of it in.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Darren, what about you? What's your week been like?
So I've succumbed to curiosity and started watching I'm a Celebrity this year because one of our distinguished leaders is in it, Matt Hancock MP, still somehow. So I think by the time you've listened to this podcast, he'll have done his first trial. So I'm just intrigued. I can't not watch it. So that's what we've started. And then met some friends and went to a board game cafe in Nottingham, played some board games, which was fun. Very much feeling like Friday nights in your 30s are very different to what they were 10 years ago. But I'm quite comfortable with that. We had a great time. It was lovely, really, really good. So, and now I'm off work for a bit, which is good as well. So, yeah, nice, busy week, but fitted in bits of fun in between work, which was all right. And the printer Paul is still not working, by the way.
Good trick. I do have to. Can I ask you a personal question, Darren?
It depends what it is. Go on.
How much is your phone bill this month from voting for Matt Hancock to do all of the nasty things?
It's free.
Free. Get online.
Are they free calls? Are they? Oh, right. I don't watch it.
Even if you don't watch it, just download the app and click on his face.
Yeah. Believe me, once you've seen it, you will want to poke it endlessly.
Wow. Of all the people I could think of that I'd quite like to poke, I'm not sure Matt Hancock is on the list. There you go. Each to their own.
I think as I get older and my hair's getting thinner, I'm starting to look like Matt Hancock. See what you think when we meet up.
I don't know about that. Yeah. I mean, he's on the track. There's a little clip, and he laughs in the clip, and it sounds like the most scripted, like B-movie acting. You know when he pretended to shed a tear on Good Morning Britain or whatever, and then kind of smiled. It's as bad as that. It's just so cringy. But that's what's going to make him really watchable, I guess, for a lot of people because they want to put through every single trial imaginable.
Yeah.
So there we are.
Good.
Poor Matt Hancock. Have you seen the video of him singing "Don't Stop Me Now" on karaoke? That's also quite amusing.
I think I had tinnitus after that for a couple of hours. It was dreadful.
My eyes were bleeding, but anyway.
I've got my recommendation I have every week. What have I watched? I've watched a thing on Amazon called The Devil's Hour, and it stars the actor I can never remember the name of, but he was Doctor Who, older actor. What's his name? Peter Capaldi, yeah.
Looks good, that.
Yeah, it's really worth a watch. It's very kind of British, but it's really well edited, really well put together. It's a great kind of concept. And it has a really nice, it has a good ending, it has a good payoff. It's got 6 episodes, 6 1-hour episodes. It's a supernatural feel. I don't want to really say anything about it because it might give it away, but it's, it has a kind of like paranormal feel to it. But really good, really, really well done. Some great performances in there. There's a kid actor in there. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, give that a go if you fancy something paranormal. But games, what games would we be playing? The usual stuff. Let's start with Darren. Let's go. I was going to say start at the bottom, but what I mean is the bottom of my list I've got in front of me here.
I got here on time and everything.
I know you did,
Darren. I've been treated.
I know. Sorry. What have you been playing?
So I've revisited Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga this week because they have released the Galactic Edition. I say released, it's kind of phased character packs that are coming out for this month. So a couple have dropped already, such as Clone Wars characters and Summer Vacation. So Darth Vader with a nice jazzy shirt on without a helmet running around. What more do you want? So it just made me go back and re-explore the universe. And I mean, it's probably going to end up being on one of my game of the years in the kind of top 10 games of the year rather, because it's just brilliant. I mean, especially for a Star Wars fan, because it's so rich and immersive, and it's got all 9 films in from the Skywalker saga. There's hundreds of characters, vehicles, extra little game hacks, so you can make the characters go pew pew instead of the noises of the blasters. It's just brilliant. It's just a celebration of Star Wars. It's got the trademark Lego charm. So I'm really, really enjoying spending time in that galaxy again, but with even more characters to kind of play around with and put in ridiculous positions. So if you haven't already played it, everyone should play it. It's great.
I've not played it. I really want to play it. I think I will. It's going to be on Game Pass at some point, is it?
I hope so.
Yeah. I might wait for that. I'm not in a... But I really want to play it. Really, yeah. Do you think it's worth having the Ultimate Edition rather than the normal one?
I think if you're a fan of it, then yes. If not, then probably not, because it's not cheap. It's £2.50 or £3 for the smaller character packs, but there's loads of them, so it soon adds up. So yeah, it can get quite costly.
Good. Okay. Paul, what's your first game?
Hello. My first game this week is a little vertically scrolling shoot 'em up called Soph Star. And basically it's about a woman called Soph who goes to the stars in her spaceship and shoots all of the bad guys that have come to invade. It's like a proper 90s style, retro style vertical scroller. It's in 4:3 format, so there's some nice art panels down the side of the screen. And the good thing about it is there's a lot of different content. There's a lot of different ways that you can play the game. You know, the score attack, time attack, arcade mode, all sorts of things. And there's also a good choice of different spaceships that you can choose to use, whether you go for all-out attack power, whether you go more defensive, whether you try and have a mixture of the two. It's really well thought out, and it's really good, quite fun. So there should be a review live shortly.
I don't like the look at this.
No, I didn't think you would. It does actually say in my review, Gareth, leave it.
I've got too many bad memories of putting 10p's into games like that in the arcade and going, oh no.
It was them great big pennies when you were a kid, though.
It was, yeah. It was like it was shillings and pence.
Exactly.
Right, Richard, what about you? Unless you got any questions for Paul in his game. No.
I'm avoiding it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Philistines.
Similar to Darren, I've been returning to a game that I loved from earlier this year, which is Arcade Paradise.
Yeah.
They brought out this week or last week 3 new arcade cabinets. So I got codes for those and gave a quick review of what was included in this new DLC pack. There was 3 in total. One of them was Cyberdance Euro Mix, which is a dance arcade machine. There's already one in the game, but this one's more up tempo, faster songs, so it's a little bit trickier. And you obviously, the beauty of Arcade Paradise is while it's like a simulator where you own an arcade, you actually get to play all the games in it. So that's fun to do as well, a little bit trickier than the one that's in there already. There's one called Smoke'em, which is a light gun game, and I think it's the first light gun game for Arcade Paradise, which is pretty good. It's playable in 2-player as well if you've got a friend local. It's a little bit basic though, is that one. So what you get is 16 targets, and then 6 of them turn round, and you need to shoot them as quick as possible, and then move on to the next 16. But you've got a minute, and it's just basically how much of a high score you can get on that. But my favourite one in this new DLC is one called Empathy, and it's an absolutely bonkers, bizarre game. The cabinet is like, it's just all black, and it's got 2 handles at the side, and that's all that you would, if it was real, that would be all you use. But to play it, you use the left and right bumper, and you've got a little stick man at the bottom of a mountain, and you need to get him to the top of the mountain, which I think is 10,000 steps. Each step is a click, but you need to keep a constant pace, otherwise you'll fall off the mountain. But he's like all alone with his thoughts, and he keeps having these deep emotional thoughts and self-doubt moments. And then while all this is happening, there's these doubters that appear at either side of the screen, and they will throw rocks at you, and if they hit you, they'll send you down the mountain. It's just unlike anything that you would normally play in an arcade.
Yeah.
It's all black and white. The soundtrack feels like it's from Twin Peaks. It's just bizarre. But I really, really want to, do the 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Because I imagine at the end there'll be no payoff, and it'll just be like, right, do it again.
Or you fall off the other side.
Yeah. That sounds good, Richard. Richard, how many? Can I ask you? How many games are in total now with this new DLC? So, is that putting you on the spot?
There's over 30 in the base game, and I believe once you're arcade, I've still not fully fleshed it out yet, but I think there's still like space for at least 10 new cabinets. So my thinking is now that they're going to release a fair few more of these DLC packs over time. Will this be up in your game of the year? One of the Yes,
games? Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's getting some great reviews as well, and you've done it. Yeah.
Spoke to Alistair as well about it, and he was like, he's got it for the Switch, and I think on the Switch, it's perfect. I mean, it's it's excellent on the Xbox, and I'd be just having it to take around as well, and dip in 15 minutes and play it in a quick arcade game would be perfect.
Yeah, good. I fancy that. Do you fancy that, you two?
I do.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to play it and I haven't got around to it yet. I'm glad that the new games are worth kind of checking out as well.
Yeah, I think the £1.79 each, or you can get them together for about £3.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought you were going to stay and get them all together for a tenner. Yeah, it does sound quite interesting. I mean, Dobbo obviously gets very excited whenever he explains things to us, and his enthusiasm is kind of infectious. So now I want to go and play it as well, but I'll just sit here quietly and the urge will pass.
Is he the piss again or not?
No, he's
Sincere.
sincere.
Isn't it?
He was sincere.
That was me being truthful.
Yeah.
No,
If I was being sarcastic, there'd have been a Yorkshire comment in there.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah. I have played this morning, and I've only played an hour and a half, so I won't talk about it too much. I went and purchased God of War Ragnarök. I can never say that in the word. Ragnarök. So I've been playing an hour and a half, maybe. And yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it's nothing you can say really. It's interesting because I've been replaying the first game, so it's like when I started, it's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on here. Control wise, it was like it's easy to get back in, but straight away you're in these huge boss battles. The story is amazing, the acting is amazing. It's great. Yeah, it's really good. It's much the same, but different, but much the same. The story's good. It made me just think about, like sometimes with games we go, oh god, the single player. You remember that sort of the single player journey is dead. That's terrible. You don't do that anymore. Like EA sort of like did it as a joke, didn't they? And it's like these games are the most popular games. The 2 biggest game of the year attenders, and probably the most are probably going to be God of War 2 and Elden Ring. I know Elden Ring's got multiplayer in it, but generally it's a kind of single player experience, isn't it, more than anything else? And going off, and it's just those great big cinematic kind of stories and gameplay. You can't beat it. I really like it. Yeah, it's great. Just first hour and a half, I'm hooked, and apparently it's about 40 hours of gameplay. So
yeah, it's a big old game apparently.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question then?
You can.
Because I've seen this phrased on Twitter quite a lot. Game of the year, Elden Ring or God of War Ragnarök?
It's hard because I think in a sense, because Elden Ring is completely new, you're in a new complete world, even though it has the same some of the old gameplay elements, but it's a new story, it's a new world, and what Elden Ring did with the open world, maybe, but I mean they're very close. They're both very different, but both. I mean, I've only played an hour and a half of God of War, so I can't say, but yeah, I mean Elden Ring was a special thing, isn't it? I think. So it's always going to be, but God of War's up there. God, yeah, it's definitely be one of those. But yeah, it's great. It's great. And I traded in Saints Row. Guess how much I got for Saints Row?
£5.
Dean.
12 quid.
Oh my goodness!
Unbelievable.
It's like Dragon Ball: The Breakers. You would get away with, Gary.
Yeah, I know. I was very upset. Another game.
I can't believe you didn't turn up. I'm still fuming about that. The suffering we went through while you sat there giggling.
I know, it's great.
Not on.
Every time I know James has got a game to help play with, I know to shut up. What's your next game, Darren?
So my next game is Broken Pieces, it's called. So it's a little bit like a cross between Broken Sword, Silent Hill, and Alan Wake. It's kind of like a mix and match of those. So it's set kind of post-Cold War, and you're in a region of Saint-Exile. Judging by it says it's France, but judging by the map, it looks like Channel Islands. So, but apparently it's set in France. So essentially, there's been a huge kind of attack and event, and then you're playing through the eyes of this character called Elise, whose fiance has gone missing, and you have to start investigating what's happened. So it's kind of one of those point and clicky investigative adventure games. So go around trying to find clues, what's happened, find items, a bit like Resident Evil, which will then a cog will then fit in a gate, open the gate, etc., etc. I'm quite enjoying it, to be honest. I've probably put about 5 or 6 hours in, so I need to play some more and see it through before I write my review up. But I am quite enjoying it. There is a bit of combat in there, but the combat is quite clunky. So you've got a pistol, and you can upgrade it with like laser sights and stuff as you play. And these apparitions, very similar to Alan Wake, will just kind of come up out of the smoke, and you'll get kind of boxed in by these smoke walls, and you'll have to take them out. So they just pop up randomly every now and then. You can repel them with like a special defensive move, and then you just have to shoot them. But dodging and repelling doesn't always work. And I think the key thing for a game like this is the story. And at first it seems very slow, but then it does open up, and then it goes into all sorts of different directions. So I think it's about 21 quid. So it is fairly expensive, but I think if you're into those type of games, it's worth checking out. What I will say though is it doesn't look great. Some of the rendering, when you hit some camera angles, looks like it could be PlayStation 2 original Xbox territory. It does look awful from some angles, but if you see past that and get invested in the story, it's quite an interesting tale that's told in it.
Is it meant to look retro, Darren?
No. So Elise, she looks pretty good, objectively speaking, in terms of graphics, but the environments, because you can hit the shoulder button to change camera, which is quite cool, and then you can go into first person whenever you want by clicking the right thumbstick down. Right. But from certain angles, she will look pretty detailed, and the environments will look very basic and very, very jagged. So yeah, there was you find audio tapes, and there was a bit where I played one and the subtitles came up but there was no audio. Sometimes when she's interacting with items, the camera will kind of pass through her and you'll see the outlines, and so it's a bit buggy as well. So it's got rough edges, but there's enough there to keep me interested. Like the story's pretty good that they're telling. Her voice acting's also not great. It's a bit wooden. She doesn't really convey many emotions apart from kind of just every day, oh, what is this? And yeah, she doesn't really do shock and awe or emotions very well. It's very small fluctuations in her voice. So yeah, it's not as polished as it could be, but The idea's sound.
You're really selling this.
I'm trying to be diplomatic. I mean, judging by what I've played so far, it will probably get a 3.5. It won't go any higher, I don't think.
Right.
Because I've got a pretty good measure of it now. But yeah, if it goes into sale, I'm sure people won't regret picking it up. But at the moment, you'd have to think about it before you buy it, I think.
Yeah. Good. You should think about it all. Every time you buy a game, think about it.
Absolutely.
Paul, have you
How
thought...
much it'd be worth when you trade it in? That's what you want to think
exactly. About. Paul, have you thought about this next game? Or you have to think about it?
I have thought about this next game. Now, I've had to turn the Xbox on so I can get the name exactly right, because it's about the longest name in the world. Warhammer 40,000 Inquisitor - Martyr Ultimate Edition.
Wow.
So there you go. It is the Ultimate Edition of a game that I played a while back that is actually quite enjoyable. Do you remember the Van Helsing games that came out a while back?
No.
No. Well, I'm wasting my time then, aren't I? Are you aware of Diablo 3?
Yes.
Right. Imagine Diablo 3, but set in a Warhammer kind of universe, and you're about there.
I would have started with the Diablo 3 comparison rather than the Van Helsing.
Well, the reason I put Van Helsing in there
Right,
is because it's the developers made the Van Helsing game.
Okay, good.
Good. It's like I think about these links, Gary. Honestly. Anyway,
Sorry,
my train of thought has derailed and crashed into a school now. I don't know what's going on.
What's it called again, Paul?
It's called... Shut your face, Darren. Anyway, so yes, it's a action RPG, third person, viewed from a slightly isometric perspective. You play as an Inquisitor, who is a bloke in a massive suit of armor, wandering around, dispensing justice to the minions of chaos. It's got all of the DLC that was ever released for the base game included in this Ultimate Edition. So you get extra characters, you get new missions and all sorts of things. It's a huge game, and I'm just playing my way through it now for review. But up till now, I'm enjoying it very much.
Did you talk about the first game? Did you review the first game without the DLC on here?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I imagine.
I might have mentioned playing it because I did play it. I think I bought it when it was on sale.
Oh.
But no, I mean, I don't think I'd ever mention it to you because you just go, Van who?
So you're liking it, Paul? What kind of game is it? Is it like a Diablo 3 type thing?
I've just spent the last 5 minutes telling you.
It was always,
you're gonna have to start listening.
We're all quite confused.
An action
it's the Van Helsing that put us off. Yeah, cool. Okay, good.
It's like Van Helsing, if you remember them.
Yeah,
Can you use a crossbow?
All the time.
Oh, there you go. Van Helsing all day long.
Good. Well, look, isn't there a big Warhammer game coming out soon on the Xbox Series X only at the end of the month? Have I made this up?
Apparently, I've seen that there is a Warhammer thing coming along, but don't ask me for any details because I'm not prepared for that.
Or maybe on the Game Pass, I've got a feeling.
Vermintide or something? Or is that
no, that's been out ages.
Okay.
And right. Vermintide too. I know the game he's talking about, but I can't think what it is.
There we go. We'll find out in a couple of weeks.
What Warhammer something or other?
Any questions for Paul in his game? No. Tough crowd.
What game it's like?
It's a tough crowd tonight. Oh yeah, good grief.
It is. Richard, what have you got? What's your next game?
I don't want to, but I'll talk about Arkanoid Eternal Battle.
Okay.
So Darren, this one's more for Paul and Gareth, but you two remember arcades, don't you?
I remember Arkanoid first time around, mate.
Yeah. Well, this is that brought into the kicking and screaming into the 21st century. So it's your standard Arkanoid brick breaker, but with a battle royal spin.
I'm out.
And it's, in terms of battle royals, it's not very good. So I think I likened it to the brief Super Mario Brothers 35 battle royal that was out briefly for the Nintendo Switch, where you basically do Super Mario Brothers, but you're competing against other people at the same time, and it's whoever gets sort of thing. This is Arkanoid Eternal Battle, so there's you and 24 of the players, so 25 in total, just completing levels of Arkanoid, scoring points, and then if you're bottom of the rankings in terms of your score after so long, then they'll start killing you off basically until it's down to the final 4, and then it's sort of like a showdown where you're all on the same screen, and there's the big bad Arkanoid enemy. I think it's called DOH or Do, and you've got to hit him with the balls.
Right.
Just not very good.
Sorry.
It's got the original. It's got the original Arkanoid sort of squashed in there to sweeten the deal, but it just feels like you're playing Arkanoid, and you don't necessarily need to tack on a battle royale because there's no real. You can send debuffs to players around you, but there's not enough interaction for it to. I would really argue it to be considered a battle royale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 25 quid.
Ooh.
Yeah, I always feel bad about ripping on games for the price, but it shouldn't be 25 quid.
No.
Simply put, should be a 10 max.
No one's going to get that, are they, for 25 quid? It's too much of a gamble. Yeah.
Surely there's like similar games that you can download for free for like your mobile phone and stuff as well. It's a lot of money, isn't it, for that game?
Yeah. Yeah.
They are banking on this battle royale thing, but every time I played it, it was me and one other guy who was ranked second in the world overall.
Oh, brilliant!
I never.
Oh no. Okay. Last game we're going to talk about now is it's me, isn't it? Yes, it's me.
It is you,
yeah. Is the Entropy Center, and what is that game? Basically, if you've played Portal, no, this is the comparison it gets with Portal, but it's used a kind of Portal format, which is like a story puzzler. But the idea behind this, I can never say it again, Entropy Center, is this space center outside in Earth's orbit by the moon. And the whole purpose of it is to keep the Earth from being destroyed by rewinding time. And so you wake up, you're this protagonist who wakes up in this room, and you don't know who you are or what's happened. And then you go out there and you're into this glossy kind of space center, and it's all in complete ruin. So there's no one there. Everything's overgrown. Everything is falling apart. And then you get this gun. And what happens with the gun is you can point it at things, bits of rubble, first of all, and rewind time. So you pointed it, and if there's rubble on the floor, you rewind it, and then suddenly a doorway appears where it used to be, or something's falling from something's like stairways that have crumbled. You can rewind the time on certain objects. And in the gun is like an AI, a very cheerful AI who talks to you and says, in order to go through, you have to do these test rooms. That was the whole point, with these test rooms to test out these guns. And you're an employee of the center, and so you have to do these tests rooms, so you can eventually try to save the Earth, which is being destroyed in the corner. So in the same way as Portal had that same setup, you were doing test rooms, or Portal 2, and you had an AI, very kind of witty AI, but then you were doing these tests, but there's an overall story at the same time of this. Who are you? What's the real story behind all this? So it has that. And how the puzzles work is quite complex to begin with, because it's all about, say you went into a room, you had 2 trigger pads to open. One opens the door, and one
opens a pathway for you to get across. But you've only got, say, one cube to use, but you need to have them both activated. What you can do is you can go into the cube, point the gun at it, pick up the cube, and it records the journey of the cube going onto the second pad. So when you press the gun on it, it rewinds time and then hits on both pads. That won't make any sense at all until you play it. When you play it, you get your head around it, and then you go, "Oh, I know how this works." And then they introduce loads of. It's a really cool little dynamic. And the first half an hour, you're literally going, "I don't know what this is. How do I do this?" And then when you get into it, everything becomes quite easy all the way through. And it's a big old game. It's like 10 to 12 hours. Really good story. Great visuals. There's a great little moment when you're kind of traveling through at the beginning and everything's crumbling around you on this lift, and you have to keep pointing the gun at it to keep rewinding debris falling on you. It's a really clever kind of action little sequence in between. Yeah, it's really good. I really recommend it. I think I gave it a 4. It's not out yet on the review, but I think I'm giving it a 4. Could have gone a little bit higher maybe. I really enjoyed it. There we go. Any questions? If you love a puzzler, yeah.
Is that kind of features, gameplay mechanics that you described, would you say it's as effective as the one in Portal? Does it work well for the gameplay like the one does in Portal?
Yeah, I think so. I think the one in Portal it's a similar kind of, not a gimmick, but it's a kind of good thing that they really every time you kind of go through different levels or chapters, they will introduce another element on top of that. All the time.
Cool.
So you're always being tested. I don't think, but once you've got the grasp of the actual rewind time stuff, and that you can sort of record a journey of something, it becomes a little bit easier in your head. But there are times, especially towards the end, you go, "Well, I don't understand this." That's why the internet's very good. Right, let's go. We haven't got much news. We're going to do a little quiz, but there's a couple of news stories here that I've got interest. Let's start with the Gears of War.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, so Gears of War, Netflix have said they are doing an adaptation. They're going to do a live adaptation of the Gears of War, so a movie, and there's going to be an animation as well. Is that right? 2 major projects, and so the internet's gone mad, and the fans, they want Dave Bautista to play Marcus Phoenix. What do we think? Gears of War film, good idea, Paul? I know you're excited.
Well, yes, I think that is going to be... Gears of War is one of those franchises that it just begs to be made into a film, I think. As long as they do it justice. But yeah, I mean... Dave as Marcus, I'm not sure. He's a bit short in my head. Marcus Phoenix is always a lot taller. But more than that, I mean, he's a good fit for the role, I think. But more than that, what I want to know is who on earth they're going to get to play Coltrane.
I've heard Terry Crews suggested.
He's not big enough.
He's massive.
Coltrane is enormous.
Yeah,
you look at
real life.
But this isn't real life, mate. This is video games. I mean, Marcus Phoenix and everybody else are enormous, but Coltrane is on a whole different level.
But it's a live-action film.
They can't get anyone bigger.
If they can make that fella into a hobbit, they can make somebody 10 foot tall with 38 foot biceps, because that's pretty much what he's going to need. But yeah, I'm very excited about the prospect of a Gears of War film. So, yep, sign me up, done. And I'm sure it'll be just as successful as the Resident Evil series, if not more.
Darren, you excited about this?
I'm a bit anxious about it for the reason that Paul's just alluded to at the end there. I think for the franchise, it's good timing because it's been a while since Gears 5 came out, and we still don't know exactly what Gears 6 is going to look like. It exists, I think, but we don't know when it's going to be released. So it'll be interesting to see if they do tie in the story to the main series because they've got all these characters in it, or whether they spin it off, or because they've kind of already prequeled it in the games anyway with Judgment. So In theory, I'm excited, but it does make me very, very nervous because they don't tend to translate well into films or live action series, video games. Often they're a bit pants, so hopefully it's good.
What about you, Richard?
Yeah, I think Netflix have decided that their first party stuff's going to be a lot more video game based in the next few years. I think it's a brave decision. I think Darren and Paul are right that everyone's a bit nervous now after how Resident Evil went. But I think Gears of War has always been that cinematic action anyway. So if they try and copy that, then I don't think they can go wrong. It's just when they try and divert from that it's always a bit iffy. I've seen lots of names mentioned as well. I wouldn't not cast them if they're a centimetre too short. That's just
no. I'll be on Twitter straight away. In fact, speaking of Twitter, did you see that Cliffy tweeted that for how did he put it? Keep Chris Pratt away from this one, FFF. And then somebody came back and said, maybe you could be one of the Carmine brothers. So that would be awesome.
I think if they've got to look at it, and I think they've got to make it, because it is quite. You know what I think they should do, in terms of reference, is just look at the trailer for Gears of War 1. Do you remember that amazing trailer when they had Mad World? Just look at that and go, that's how it should be done. Because it had that really gritty kind of like, and there's a couple of moments they used another moment in Gears 3, maybe when that kind of like really kind of just looking at the war thing, the kind of the grittiness of it. That's the way to do it, rather than this huge CGI affair, which they're going to have to do as well. But it's like you want it to feel quite like a war movie. I think that would be the way to make it interesting for me.
It's going to be great. But then with all the time you're spending in the gym, you'll be up for a roll in this, won't you?
I will, yeah. I'm going for it. I'm trying to get that bigness. I'm trying to get that size you're after.
Getting swole.
Good. Gears of War, excited about that. Let's do Project Cars. The series is ending. Paul, are you upset about this?
I find that's a bit of a shame. Project Cars 1 was really good. I didn't get on with Project Cars 2. And Project Cars 3 went in a slightly different direction. It became a bit more arcadey, but it was then much more accessible. And I thought it was a very good game. So to hear that they've just gone, nah, we're shutting it down. Obviously, you've got to think about all the people that used to work for, I think, was it Slightly Mad Studios, did it? That EA bought. So, yeah, I mean, with no more Project Cars, what are all these people going to be doing? So
I think there's a bit of me that thinks as well. In the 360 days, there seems to be millions of car games, and they all seem to found a market. Maybe there's a sense now that with the success of Forza Horizon and the kind of longevity of that as well, maybe people are going, is there an appetite for millions of different car games anymore? Because some of them haven't done so well over the last couple of years. Not like they used to have that audience. So maybe there's a part of that. I think, maybe we just have Forza and we have Formula One or something. That's the difference. Maybe, or I don't know.
So having said that, they're bringing a new Need for Speed out. So.
They are. Yeah, that always does very well, doesn't it? Yeah. We'll see.
Unlimited. I think that'll be a stick in the mud to see where people are at in terms of racing games.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said, Gareth. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
There we go. And the last bit of news before we do our quiz. Did you? Now I've put this in here. There's now I don't know if I've read this right. I still can't work out. This is, I think it's an artist, isn't it? A conceptual artist. He's got a VR headset that you can put on your head, and it will kill you in real life if you die in the game. Is that right?
That's what he says. Yeah.
The founder of Oculus has created one.
I'm not sure it's a selling point, to be fair.
So it's the founder of Oculus has created this thing that if you're playing, what was the game? Is it Sword Art Online?
Yeah.
So if you die, the sensors are triggered. They fire the sensors are triggered inside that thing, which is lots of red light, and it instantly destroys the brain of the user.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like it's a conceptual art thing. It's an idea. It's not a real thing, is it? It's definitely not going to go to market.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to be marketing it to little Johnny at Christmas. But yeah, he said it's just they've created I think he said he created a prototype and it just sits in the studio. But in the Sword Art Online, apparently they destroy the brain with microwaves, and he couldn't find a way to make it do that. So he's going to trigger explosives instead if you die.
Nice.
So it's just like, no, I can't even understand why you would spend your time making such a thing or pretending to make such a thing. It's such a waste of time.
I don't think he's done it. I think
I
think it's sitting in a room like that, and he says, "This is what this does," and that's what he says. Yeah. He doesn't actually.
I had a dream last night, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
But this is my problem with this story. Is it's presented like a real, credible story. And it's just clearly not.
No.
It's clearly rubbish.
Yeah.
The date's not April the 1st, so why is it even a story? I don't understand it, because if he could potentially physically make something that's capable, but it's never going to get used, and then I doubt he'll even be allowed to do that. So I read it and I thought, I don't understand what this is trying to achieve here. I don't get it. So yeah. I don't get it.
There we go.
Health and safety nightmare.
It is. Absolutely.
We are going to play a quiz. Now, the idea of this quiz, we might have done this quite early on in the podcast days, but it's called Who Am I? And I've got 5 characters here in games. And I'm going to give you 5 guesses, ranging from hard to see what and you get 1 guess each per clue. Yeah? And if you get it right, you get 5 points straight away, 4 points, 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. And there's 5 people. Is that clear?
Mm-hmm. Are you going to do impressions?
No, there's no impressions. It's like, I'll just give you it's a clue. It's a clue.
I don't want to play then if you're not doing impressions.
No. Let's have your buzzer noises.
For me, Gareth.
Do we have to wear microwave helmets for this?
Yeah, you do. When the last person dies.
Yeah, if you get it wrong, your head blows up.
It's not allowed the first round.
And I'm going to be really predicting. You've got to get exactly the right name. Okay.
No, that's not like you.
No. Paul, let's see your buzzer noise.
My buzzer will be meow.
Great. Richard?
Womp.
And Darren?
And mine will change this evening to
Into what?
Exterminate.
Exterminate. Right.
Exterminate.
That's a very long buzzer.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Really good. Okay, so the first one. And the first clue is for 5 points. Originally, I was never given a name.
Meow.
Paul?
Is it Mario?
No.
Good shout.
Womp.
Richard?
It's not Samus, is it?
No.
Also a good shout.
Darren, do you want to have a guess?
Exterminate.
Yes, good.
Is it the Master Chief?
No. No, good. Okay, for 4 points. Through the spoken word, I was given the name John Kane.
Meow.
Paul?
Is it John Kane?
No.
It was worth a try.
Womp.
Richard?
John Marston?
No. No. Darren, do you want to have a guess?
I've had no idea. I'll have to pass this time.
Okay, pass, yeah. For 3 points. Annoyingly, I'm always looking for coloured-coded keycards.
Exterminate.
Darren?
Oh, I'm not so sure now. I'm going to say Solid Snake.
No.
Meow.
No. Paul?
Meow, 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 meow. Is it Doom Guy?
It is Doom Guy. Well done,
well
for
done.
3 points.
Woohoo!
Very good. Oh, so saying good. And the other clues were I'm a space marine, and the last one was my favourite gun is the BFG. Right, good. So for the second one, so Paul's got 3 points. Well done, Paul.
My head hasn't exploded either, so that's a plus.
No. Question 1, clue 1. I was born on June the 5th, 2465.
Womp.
Richard?
Master Chief.
No.
Meow.
Paul?
Is it Shepard from Mass Effect?
No. Darren, you got a guess? 5 points.
Exterminate.
Darren?
I'll say Samus Aran.
No. For 4 points. I studied electrical and mechanical engineering.
If I think I know what game is, but I don't know what the character's called, can I submit that?
No. Sorry.
He's being
Please do,
pernickety,
that'll help.
Richard, remember. Meow.
Paul?
Is it Ezio from Assassin's Creed?
No. I can't remember Ezio studying electrical and mechanical engineering. Maybe I missed
Well,
that.
you don't know what he did
No.
before he was starting the game.
I do. You play him as a baby. Come on. Darren and Richard. So you got, I was born on June the 5th, 2004, and 65. I studied electrical and mechanical engineering.
Exterminate.
Darren?
Gordon Freeman.
No.
Oh, that was who I was thinking of.
From Half-Life.
Him. Not a clue. I can't even think of anything. I'll have to pass.
For 3 points. I volunteered to go on a rescue mission on the doomed Ishimura.
Oh, meow.
Exterminate.
I think it's Paul. on that one.
Isaac Clarke.
Isaac Clarke. Good, well done, Paul. 6 points to Paul. The other two questions, the 2 clues were: I hate eye torture, and I hate necromorphs. Those were the last 2. Okay, for the third one, Paul's got 6. Come on, you still can do it though. Still open.
Yes, come on.
For the first quick clue, I am a detective.
Exterminate.
Darren?
Phoenix Wright.
No.
He's an attorney, not a detective.
Oh yeah.
God, it's a bit vague, that one, Gareth.
That's the first clue.
I think
That's what you want.
That's the format. Paul.
I think I'm getting the hang of this. Hang on, how many points have you got again, Darren? Meow.
Paul?
Sherlock Holmes.
No. Richard, do you want to have a guess?
Bruce Wayne, Batman.
No. For 4 points. I was framed for the murder of my partner, Alex Boulder.
Oh, Burrs. Exterminate, rather.
Darren?
Is it Max Payne?
It is Max Payne, Darren. Well done.
Hey, well done,
Very
Darren.
good.
Thank you. I regressed to an earlier buzzer. I was that excited then.
Yeah. The other 3 clues were I'm haunted by the death of my wife and child. Later in my life, I cut my hair and went to Brazil. I was quite proud of that one. And I can slow down time in firefights. Okay, good. So Darren's got 4. Paul's got 6. Richard's still in there, Richard. You've got a chance. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good. Clue 1. My earliest heroes are Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, and Richard Feynman.
Yeah.
Paul?
Gordon Freeman.
It is Gordon Freeman. What a Paul! I think you done it. I think you got it. Well done. Well done.
I can't believe it.
Well done, Paul. The other 4 clues were: I have no dependents. I'm a graduate of MIT. Haven't earned a PhD in theatrical physics. Theoretical physics. Clue 3 was: I find a crowbar to be very versatile. My first job at 27 was to work at Black Mesa Research Facility, and I wear glasses. Okay, we're going to play for fun. Richard, it's between Richard and Darren now. Richard, are you okay? I think you're fuming, aren't you?
Oh, I'm also fuming
for this one.
Okay.
If we hadn't have said that, Paul wouldn't have got it, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know what? I was desperately thinking. I thought he's just said this. What was the name? What did he say?
Okay, so for the last one, first clue.
Shall I stick this one out?
No, Paul, get in there. Come on.
Oh, okay. I might as well demolish them.
Yeah. I was born on August the 8th, 1957, in the Baltimore suburb of Townsend, Maryland.
1957.
Meow.
Paul.
Is it you, Gareth?
No. No.
What year did you say again?
1957.
It don't help. I'm just making sure.
Make sure I'm not making it up. Darren and Paul.
I've already had a guess, so it'll be down to Darren.
I am going to need more, so I'm going to have to
Okay,
pass.
fine. Richard, have a guess?
Yeah, pass.
Okay, for 4 points. I was raised by my parental grandmother and attended a military boarding school after the death of my parents.
Exterminate.
Darren?
Is it Sam Fisher?
It is Sam Fisher. Well done.
You had to get that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
The other clues were on May 31st, 1985, Regan gave birth to my couple's only child, a daughter whom we named Sarah. For 2 points, it was I like my goggles. And my last key was he was the first person to be recruited as a field agent of the Splinter Cell program. Well done. So final scores: Paul's got 11, Darren's got 8, and Richard, I'm sorry, you got 0 for that.
I won't use Paul's excuse of, I didn't know these games.
Well, do you know what? I've not played Splinter Cell, and I only played Half-Life 2 for about half an hour.
Dude, don't.
But anyway,
Best games ever, Paul. You need to play Half-Life.
Yeah, it's not though, is it?
No.
Oh, it really is.
Good.
It's not a patch on Aliens Fireteam.
Oh, God.
Now, before we go,
If only they'd make a film out of that.
Yeah.
Well, now
That'd
you're
be
asking.
great.
What are we looking forward to next week, gentlemen?
Who would you like to answer first?
Oh, yes, let's start with Darren.
Shall we both?
I am looking forward to not being in work. Going to see Black Panther on Friday, and then meeting some rowdy bunch on Saturday for some drinks. So that should be good.
Great. Richard, what about you?
My God of War didn't arrive today, so hopefully it arrives tomorrow. But I'm meeting the same bunch of reprobates over the week.
And Paul, what about you?
Well, since there seems to be some sort of get-together happening that I wasn't aware of, I might just go to Oxford for the day. So, yeah, just go and have a look and see what I can see.
Great. Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Well, that's what I think we're all going to do. We're going to be meeting in Oxford on Saturday. Let's do it. Yeah, that's what we're all doing. So we're going to do that. We'll give you some... Well, just maybe give some pictures next week. We don't know. We'll see what happens.
That'll be. It's going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I mean, the only pictures that we can't share are obviously going to be Neil in his shirt because it needs to come with an 18 rated thing. Some of the things he's been threatening us with. Yeah,
exactly. But we're going to enjoy that. We're going to have a good time. But also, I'm looking forward to The Crown. I like The Crown. It's coming out. Is that out now? Am I going to go and see it now?
There's been some controversy about that, hasn't there?
We can talk about that next week. I haven't got time now. I'm going to go get my car. Right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Can I get your details before you go? I feel like a policeman. Paul, what's your details?
What details are you looking for?
What details can you give us? Your Where can we
inside
find
leg
you?
measurement.
No.
You can tell we're in overtime here. Come on, Paul, give us your handle.
Oh, you want my handle, do you?
Yeah.
My handle on the Twitter is at XboxHub Paul.
Brilliant. And Richard, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Dobbo1912.
And Darren, what about you?
I'm on Twitter, or Elon Musk's worldwide webosphere as it's known now, and my handle is at 27Darren.
And you can find me at GB Bro, Twitter and Twitch. But for now, gentlemen, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You had found all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.